What's up, guys? Welcome back. Patrol, GU Patrol LS1 conversion on this Patrol, GU Patrol. Anyway, we're back here this morning. Rex went and got the accelerator cable out of the VX, the donor. Cable, you can see here. Oh, look at that.
Look at that, hey?
That's just gonna be nice. So we just need to make sure that that encapsulates in the firewall, which we can use this plate that goes over the hole to make sure it, that's just uncanny. How good. So it's frustrating, we're having heaps of issues with the internet here at the moment. For anyone who tries to call us and stuff, there's a few reasons why you probably could hardly ever get hold of us from a phone call. One, that if we actually answered every phone call we got every day, we'd never get anything done. Get between like 30 and 40 missed calls a day, it's ridiculous. For two, the only reason we have even any phone service in the shed is because we actually had a repeater put on the roof. Where we live here is a complete black spot. We don't get any phone service, any internet, nothing. There is nothing here. So we had to get that put on the roof just so that we could have phone service, and that's how we get internet, just through our phones, which sucks. But lately, the past 3 days, that has just been absolutely dead. We've got nothing. So we're gonna have to call on Monday and sort it out. But anyway, it's sort of, at least we don't waste any time on our phones. There's one good thing to come of it. Anyway, I digress. So once we get this cable sorted, it's time to get this engine in there and bloody go. What, does it fit perfectly?
Yeah. Like, it's not a tight fit, but it sits there, but it'll just sit there.
B-E-A, beautiful.
That's it, it's done.
Can't ask much more than that, can you? So I don't think I went through it in the last episode, but you would have seen the existing mounts on the chassis are drilled, and these are have two studs, and one of the studs just sits sort of outside the mount. That one we had to grind a little bit to make it fit. So the way that they actually get done up is Marks actually supply these plates. So as you can see, these plates are machined and have a little lip, so they go underneath and sort of sandwich the mount to the chassis plate. So just thought I'd explain that because I did in the last episode, and it looks like it makes it look like the innermost studs are just going to be floating in the breeze, but they're not. They actually have this plate. So anyway, guys, it's exciting because, like I said in the last episode, you spend like 2-3 days going through all this little stuff, test fitting, dummy fitting, clearancing, cutting, grinding, making sure everything's going to work. And then you get to this point where you've done all that, and you get to just start putting it together, and all of a sudden your conversion that you've been working at for so long actually starts to just go together, and you get to see some really good results really fast, and it's sort of the best part of the conversion. So we're pretty lucky with the donor being a VX, being an executive and not an SS. It doesn't have any traction control, which means we don't have to worry about the throttle relaxer or anything like that. So they're actually pretty sought after for conversions, or they used to be, you know, back when people would buy donors for conversions and stuff. Things like the VT Series 2, like the first of the LSs, didn't have traction control and they didn't have the throttle relaxer, and it made things way simpler. Turns out the VX Executive doesn't either. So that's why we can have this cable. It's just straight to the throttle body. We don't have to worry about any sort of modules for the throttle relaxer or anything like that. It's great. It's awesome. So we want you. Get rid of the kickdown switch for the RE4, which is no longer required. Yeet. So it turns out that that little lip on the throttle cable actually fits in the firewall hole almost perfectly. So basically we're pretty happy with that until the engine goes in, and then we'll fine tune and sort it out after that. So first things to do before the engine goes in is put on our new manifold for our AC lines that come from Marks with the relocation kit for the pump. They also come with new seals for the manifold, which is awesome, and that's how that runs like that. So we'll get that on first. It's going to be really hard to get in the car after. So it's just occurred to me that Sam actually won't be able to gas this up when he does the wiring because the fuel system won't be finished, so it won't run, which you'll need for it to be gassing up. But that's all right, because the guy who does our mod plating for us, he will gas it up when he comes to do the mod plate, so that's okay. Crisis averted. Righto, new manifold installed, new belt that also comes with the kit to suit installed. We're right to go. We do actually only realised the other day we still have to buy a new belt for the rest of everything to drive. A new, what are they called? Serpentine belt. That's what I meant to say. Rex is just fishing out the engine coolant temperature sensor, which will go right there. That's the guy. Alright, so that was the wrong sensor. This is the right sensor. So that sensor's in, this sensor's in. All we need to get the dash working. And at this point we're ready to get this thing in the hull. Let's get it. Alright guys, so you would have seen on the time lapse there that we've got our engine in. Sorry I didn't film more of it. So with it in its final position on the actual mounts bolted up, we pretty much just come to the conclusion that if you want to run the AC in that position, you cannot run alternator in that position. It straight up just isn't going to work. Like it does fit, as you can see, it's in there, it fits. But the alternator's too close to that chassis rail, you literally can't get the plug on it. So you physically cannot get the plug on it. It's just going to be an absolute pain to work with. It's a real pain. Like we've had patrols come through with the alternator in that location before. That's why I thought it might work, and we'd give it a try for this one. But those ones that came through, they didn't have the AC down here. They had the AC relocated to the top of the engine. So that would work because if you could just move it across maybe 10 mil, it'd be enough to get the plug on and you could run the alternator there, no worries. But with the AC down here and the alternator, we can't come this way anymore, and it's just too close to the chassis rail. It's just, you cannot get the plug onto the alternator. So we're just gonna have to get a high mount kit. It is what it is, you know, in order to make the car easier to work on and easier to work with. It's just gonna have to happen. It is what it is. So that's not a big deal. We'll order that next week, and we'll just let Whitey's wiring know where it's gonna actually be situated, so that he can do the wiring for it. But yeah, that is what it is. So take note, I guess, if you plan on running this AC relocation kit and you want to run the AC down the bottom here still, you're going to have to move the alternator. Anyway, not a big deal. At least our engine's in, mounts are on. These are the plates that I was talking about that go at the bottom of the mount. You can see there. You can see how they work and fit and everything. Again, Mark's 4 drive stuff, it all fits really well. Needed very minimal modifications to do so. And yeah, we're pretty happy with it. So we'll just start pretty much getting the rest of our stuff in. All right, LS in the hole. Ew. So you can see how this manifold works and how sort of close it is. Like there's not really much room for us to come this way. Not to mention we're already pretty much all the way over on that mount. So yeah, not going to work. But as you can imagine, without that AC pump there, you can see there's nothing else really on this side that would stop you from moving it over, which is why we've had patrols come through that have been alternator down there. It's because they're further towards the driver's side. But anyway, that's fine. So the new alt relocation kit, which we've done on conversions before, it's the same one we put on the GQ. Oh, actually, it's not quite the same one, but they come with a relocation kit for your reservoir, which mounts it off of your coil packs and puts it up here, sort of out of the way, which is, you know, nice and easy. And then your alternator comes up to this area. So all well and good, and they come with a belt. So sweet as. But anyway, that's where we're at. So I'll get this alt off so it's out of the way, and then we'll go on with fitting in all our other stuff around this LS now. Get our AC lines in and everything else, get our rad in, see how it looks with our fans and everything. And, exciting stuff. So the only way you probably could have made this work in that location would have been to always pull the alt off, plug in the plug, and then put the alt back in, which, as much as that may have worked, it would have just forever been the worst thing to work on. And That's not what we like about our conversions. We like our conversions to be nicely finished off and serviceable, and just as easy to work on, or even easy to work on, than a factory fitted engine. So I've gone to put the other end of this high pressure power steering line on from Marks, and this is the banjo bolt they supply you. Look how short that ends up. It's like 3 threads, if that are engaging. That's pretty average. I've chucked it in anyway. I've not done it up too tight, just sort of firm. So we'll see if it leaks. But if it does leak, I'm not too keen to do that bolt up any tighter than it is. But I don't know, there might be a reason that it's that short. It might be, if it's any longer, it might encroach on part of the feed inside the pump. I'm not sure, I wouldn't be able to tell you. But yeah, it seems a bit short. But anyway, it's on there. So Rex is just making an adjustable stopper for the pedal. So the pedal coupled with that cable works awesome. We get full throttle, it's awesome, but it comes back just a bit too far and leaves heaps of slack in the cable. So Rex is just making an adjustable stopper to stop it. And after that it should be sweet. But apart from that, that cable works awesome and fits awesome. Look at that. Whew. Can't ask for much better. It's always cool when stuff like that happens with conversions. Alright guys, I think the time lapse has gone flat, so you might have just missed that last bit, but just sorting out heater lines and other bits and bobs before we keep smashing stuff in. As you can see, pipes and that are in. So I pulled the coolant overflow and expansion tank out and drained it because it had the green coolant in it. The green cordial, which is now gone, so our heater lines are going to run up around like that. I've got them like that just because the new power steering reservoir is going to be somewhere around that area, so I want to run them out, sort of out of the way and not down near the pipes. And they run down. We've got one that's 5/8 expanding to 3/4, one that stays 5/8 the whole way, and they're going to run down here with all of the other power steering lines. It looks like a mess at the moment, but it'll all get tidied up and tied all together. So all of the AC, power steering and heater lines will all be run down along that bar and then up into the water pump where they go, as you can see there. And the plan is probably this one, the 5/8 one here. We're going to get a 5/8 T-piece, which we don't have in stock, so we're going to have to wait for that, but we'll tee that out, and that'll tee up to our expansion tank there so that it can stay and all work as factory, and that's pretty much how the heater lines are going to run, and they'll obviously be tied up out of the way with that power steering line and everything else. So should all tidy up pretty well. Just got them run in. I'll pull them all back off and actually put hose clamps on them now. Alright, change of plans. I got the T-piece out of the Commodore. A lot of you know the Commodores have the factory T-piece down there where it comes out at 3/4. And I'm just going to use that and another reducer to tee it up. So that way I can complete the heater system, which is cool. So that's what we'll be working with, but those will be actually tied sort of down out of the way there. That's our expansion tank, which is teed off down there. And yeah, so the next thing on the list is to do a test fit of the radiator with the fans on, so I know how far back the fans come, so I can see where I can actually sort of fix this so it's all out of the way as much as we can. Oh, look at the space. Look how good that is. So it looks like the only place we really have to be careful of is pretty much where the bottom rad hose goes onto the rad. So as long as those are in front or behind of that bar at that point to give that plenty of room, we should be all well and good. Ooh-wee, look at us go, look at that, how good. So, for the top,
Lurpo Cecil.
Yeah,
Patrol.
out with the Zerbo diesel, in with the Lurpo Cecil. So, yeah, what was I going to say? We took the radiator back out, Rex gurneyed it all, cleaned it all up, so it's all good. The top rad hose is actually just a factory Commodore hose, fits awesome. The bottom rad hose we made out of a bit of stainless, that is the right diameter, and actually a combination of both the top and bottom ZD hoses. So one of the ZD hoses has like a perfect 130 mil, I suppose, or 100 mil. 130 degrees, 140 degrees, I don't know what you call that, but it's pretty well perfect to come off the thermostat housing. And then there's another perfect 90 with a bit of stainless in between them, and we're good to go, we're in business. Tied this all up out of the way as best as we could, which is working. The only thing that's annoying is with these fans, that service port on that ASC line's in a bit of a crap spot, but it's not a lot we can do about it. So the last thing that has to go in here is the return for the power steering to go back to the reservoir, but we didn't bother putting that in because the reservoir's got to move to over here anyway, so it'll just run up to where the reservoir sits over here with the new alternator, high mount alternator kit. That's what I should say. So apart from that, the only other thing left to do as far as the cooling system goes is the steam port off the LS. We have to tee that into this, I don't know, expansion hose. The problem is this is 1/2 inch and that's 5/16, so we need to order a T piece that's going to allow us to tee it into that. But after that, that's the cooling system complete, which is awesome, and it's going to work a charm. Everything's freaking sorted. So the accelerator cable looks awesome, works great, looks like it's factory. It's all looking really good. But the only other thing we've got to do is order the materials to make our intake, and we've still got to sort out all the back lines. So you can see the Patrols actually have like a clutch booster, and they do have a back line that goes to the booster. So the plan is to come off the back of the manifold, basically probably with a stock Commodore 1 hose, go across and pick up the clutch booster on the way to the brake booster, and that'll be those two, all well and good. And that's pretty much it. Pretty simple, really. Look at this, the stock brake vacuum line off the VX. Stock location. Buzz, like it was meant to be. Right to the clutch booster. So all we need to do is pretty much tee it from up top and then run an extra bit of line to the brake booster, and that's it. Easy as that. Alright guys, moving along. Got our coil packs and stuff mounted. We turn the fuel rail around so that the fuel is on that side, the right side. Which should be all good. We're still undecided on what we're going to do with the actual fuel system. One issue we did run into though is the coil packs on the driver's side do not fit underneath the clutch booster. So the rearmost coil pack doesn't actually fit there. So for now, we're not too worried about it. We just took the coil pack off because Whitey's only really needs that plug to finish the loom off and do what he has to do. When we get the car back, we'll have to figure out a solution to put that rearmost coil pack forward, maybe put it on top of the third one or something. We'll figure something out. We're going to just have to move it so that it's out of the way. But aside from that, we're all good. Put some oil in the thing so that that doesn't get forgot about. Currently, I've just left all of the ZD wiring in it, only because I don't know how much Whitey's needs or what they want to do with it. So I didn't want to go pulling it out in case they want to use some of it. Things like obviously water temp and oil pressure they're going to want. So decided we'd just leave that in for them to decide what they want and what they don't. So this was the TB hanger that we did have lined up. It is out of that Patrol that did burn down. So I didn't realise, but all of these had been burnt and they're all not sealed anymore, and that's pretty much no use to us really. So that's didn't work out. Anyway, I'm just going to tell Whitey's not to worry about wiring in the fuel pump area or doing the fuel system at the moment. We'll just sort that out when we get it back. If we do end up putting that ring in it with the Commodore setup, going back to plan A, that's alright. We'll sort out the wiring ourselves. It shouldn't be that difficult just to do that, but if in the meantime, if I can find another TB hanger, we'll jump on that and we'll go with plan B again. Anyway, we've worked out what fittings we need to finish the vacuum setup. We've worked out what fittings we need to finish the steam pipe setup. So we're pretty sure we're on top of having to order everything we need to order to get this finished when we get it back, which is the most important thing. So we've pretty much done everything we wanted to get done before it goes to wiring, which is good. And then we should be in a position that when it comes back, we'll have everything we need to just finish it off. Alright, so batteries can go back in. We won't worry about leaving them hooked up though, but we did manage to wind the driver's window up, which is good, before it goes down to Whitey. And yeah, like I said, it's ready to go to wiring, and we are ahead of time, which is good. It didn't come down to the wire, which is, you know, great. We actually have some time to spare, so a few things we got on to ordering, and it goes on the tilt tray on Monday morning. Alright boys and girls, that's it. It's ready to go to wiring. Stoked to get through all that in the time that we had. Stoked to get it to where it is in the time that we were meant to get it where it is. As a lot of you guys who've been watching the series know, this was all meant to start 2 weeks ago, but because of this thing being so late, here we were with only 1 week to get it sorted. So plenty of, obviously between other stuff. A week sounds like a long time if you're only working on this, but between other stuff, it's not that much. So anyway, stoked to get it done and looking forward to seeing it back from Sam. So, our sincerest apologies to Sam for getting a patrol or a conversion that is unfinished. I, as much as anyone, know how frustrating it is to try and do your job on a car that's not actually finished yet. So, sorry to Sam, sorry to the boys there at Whitey's, but yeah, unfortunately due to time constraints, that's all we could get done. But anyway, hopefully they don't have too much trouble with it. Hopefully it doesn't cost us dearly if they do have trouble with it, but they should be alright, and we'll see when this thing gets back to get finished off. So, hope you're enjoying. We'll see you on the next one. Peace out, see you, bye.